This can't be happening!
Eternal Darkness: Sanity's Requiem for the GameCube, a criminally underappreciated game that could really do with a remake or a sequel or something to raise its profile. Developed by Silicon Knights in the days before they were best known for spending 9 years making a game that no one liked, Eternal Darkness appears to be a fairly standard Resident Evil style adventure game, but a closer look beneath the surface reveals it to be a different beast entirely. The main story focuses on Alex Roivas as she explores her grandfather's Rhode Island mansion searching for clues relating to his unexplained death. Hidden away in a secret room, she discovers the Tome of Eternal Darkness, a book bound with human skin, which recounts the tale of ordinary men and women across history unwittingly becoming entangled in a plot to release some unknown horror upon humanity. As Alex reads the book, the player is drawn into its pages, playing out the events as each of the characters in turn. During these trips into the past, you'll find clues that allow Alex to find more and more chapters from the tome hidden throughout the house, opening new eras and locations that gradually bring the whole story together. The game is very heavily influenced by the works of H.P. Lovecraft, both in its subject matter and narrative style. The true nature of the supernatural forces being dealt with is very slowly drip-fed to the player, and the structure is very reminiscent of the 3 self-contained parts of Lovecraft's Call of Cthulhu, in which most of the characters can only see a small part of what's really going on. Unfortunately, Eternal Darkness does have to make some concessions towards being a video game. So whereas Lovecraft will gradually give hints about the monster and build to a climax in the final paragraph, Eternal Darkness has you fighting zombies fairly early on. It doesn't hurt the game too much, but the action elements mean it must always keep a certain distance away from its source material. On the other hand, the more adventure game themed elements, such as being able to thoroughly examine all of the rooms in the Roivas mansion, are very good at foreshadowing later events and go a long way to cementing the atmosphere as being truly Lovecraftian. Gameplay wise, Eternal Darkness takes its influences from a little closer to home. Most of the time you'll be solving environmental puzzles and fighting enemies using the functional combat mechanics which allow you to target specific areas of the body using the various period-specific weapons you'll find along the way. The system gives you a degree of control above what you'd expect from other third-person horror games and allows you to engage in a little bit of strategic dismemberment. Even so, fans of horror games will be glad to hear that the mechanic is cumbersome enough to instill that essential feeling of stress whilst in combat. Some situations will call for a bit of finesse under pressure. As you'd expect, swinging a sword around in a cramped corridor is only going to cause damage to the walls. A bit more depth can be found in the game's magic system, which has you combining different runes that you find into spells to produce different effects, such as summoning creatures to help you or regaining health and sanity. Yes, much like Lovecraft's work, the concept of sanity and things man wasn't meant to see comes to the fore in Eternal Darkness. Whenever your character sees something particularly traumatic, their sanity meter will drop, which results in the game's most distinguishing feature, the sanity effects. The line between what is really happening and what's just inside your character's head starts to blur as you begin to hear strange noises, the camera begins to tilt at angles, and they start hallucinating. Your character could start walking backwards, their head and shoulders will suddenly drop off their body, or maybe something even more sinister. The game has no compunction about screwing with the player themselves and will often try to fool you into thinking that something has gone wrong outside of the game. All the items in your inventory could disappear, the game might claim to have corrupted your save file, or perhaps the volume on the television will start taking on a life of its own.
This isn't really happening!
By stretching its influence into the real world, Eternal Darkness is able to make the player nervous and paranoid in a way that very few other games can, which is of course all part of the appeal. If you're feeling brave, try leaving your insanity untreated and see what the game throws at you. I always found that the extremely oppressive ambient noises that accompany such a strategy were too much to stand for more than a few minutes. Immersion is very important in horror games, and Eternal Darkness takes it further than any other, drawing the player into the mindset of the characters they control. The graphics and sound help a great deal too, and the game holds up surprisingly well for its age. So it's a big thumbs up from me for Eternal Darkness. It pushes the boundaries of what games can do and provides a memorable journey that will stay with anyone willing to put a bit more than just their avatar in the line of fire.
You too will come to understand fear as I have.